Welcome to the Rebuilt Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Sykes. Each week, I sit down with people who have faced life's toughest challenges and come out victorious, along with mental health experts, coaches, and leaders. We explore powerful stories of transformation, faith, and practical strategies for building a life of purpose and resilience. This is the Rebuilt Podcast. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to the Rebuilt Podcast. I am your host, and today's episode, I sat down with my friend Pete O'Neill. And Pete is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with years of experience in discipline, mindset, and self-mastery. He's a devoted husband, a father, a strong Christian man, but beyond all of that, Pete is also a highly successful dating coach who has helped thousands of men across the country find real love, their future wife, and a forever person. This was a fun, honest, and powerful conversation. Whether you're single and looking for your future spouse, or simply someone who wants to grow in discipline, leadership, and personal development, you're going to get a lot of value from this episode. Pete breaks it all down in this conversation, so let's go check it out. Hey, Pete, what's going on, my brother?
It's going pretty good. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, of course, man. I am so excited to have you. I've been looking forward to this conversation. You are a expert with the ladies, and definitely want to get some wisdom from you on that subject. But you're not just a dating coach; you're also a mindset coach. You are a BJJ black belt. You are a father, a husband. I mean, you've got so many good things about you, and you're also a devoted Christian. And so many things that I want to pick your brain on today. But everything that I haven't said so far, why don't you just take the first few minutes and introduce yourself and tell the listeners kind of who you are?
Yeah. So I appreciate the intro. My name is Pete O'Neill. I'm a dating coach. I've been training jiu-jitsu for 16 years, and I love jiu-jitsu. The way that I got into dating was I basically use all my philosophy that I learned in jiu-jitsu and kind of put it into social skills and my communication. And that led me to being able to find my wife. We've been together for 8 years. We have a beautiful baby girl. We're both Christian. We both have a relationship and, a God-centered relationship, marriage. And it's the most amazing thing. And it was because I put in the work in this aspect of my life. And now, for me, my main mission is to help other guys also find their wife as well.
That's awesome, man. That's great. And so before we get into the whole dating thing, because I definitely want to talk about that, I want to talk about the jiu-jitsu because we've talked a little bit about that before. I trained in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu for about 3 years, but you made it all the way, man. 16 years, got your black belt. I know from experience that takes discipline, it takes patience, it takes practice, it takes a lot of perseverance. So if you can just kind of tell us what that journey was like for you, what kind of discipline you had to have, and just, what did you learn along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. I love sharing my story with jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu in San Antonio, Texas. The reason why I started was just because I was like a young kid. I was skinny. We would, when you're with the boys, when you're with the friends, you guys would tend to wrestle and just have fun and, just do boy stuff. And let's just say I wasn't winning those wrestling matches with my friends, right? And, I get beat up a lot, and not in a bad way, just in a way where it's like, oh man, I don't feel like strong, And then I had one of my best friends, his name is Jacob. He was really, really good at just grappling in general. And he never did jiu-jitsu. He just learned from online, and he would watch videos online. I think it was Submissions 101 was the website, and he would take it back. And then when we would all hang out and wrestle, because we played football, dude, he was just submitting people and stuff. And I was like, dang, dude, that's so sick. And he was my best friend. So I was like, dude, I want to learn jiu-jitsu, and I want to get better at this. And it was coming from a place of just little insecurity. And, I think as a young kid, we're all insecure in some way. And to me, I wanted just to get strong and more confident. And I remember one day I was driving to working out to like the gym, and I see this little sign in San Antonio, Texas. And this was in 2010. So jiu-jitsu wasn't that popular, especially in Texas. Now it's like huge, but
Yeah.
it's like tiny, right? I see this tiny little sign as I'm driving. It says jiu-jitsu class, free trial, a free class or something like that. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta go and see what this is about. And I go in there because we were watching UFC as well. So that's another thing that led me to that. We would watch UFC, WFC with Uriah Faber, all those guys. So I went there, and nobody was there. It was just one other older gentleman, and we were just kind of doing like a little bit of Muay Thai, a little punching the stuff. But he's like, "We're gonna have it next, in a couple days or whatever. Come through." So I end up coming back, and it's just like this one guy's name is Jason, and he was like a purple belt at the time. He was the one who was teaching. And then there's like two other white belts, and I convinced my friend to go. I had to like beg him to come, like, "Hey, come." And so he came, and it was like 3, 4 of us training with Jason. And then once he started showing us techniques, it's just like it's very undescribable. Like it's very addicting. You get the bug, and then once I got the bug
Yeah.
of like training and kind
Yeah.
of knowing how to do an arm bar and getting
Yeah.
choked out, just getting beat up a little bit, I
Yeah.
just immediately fell in love with it.
Oh yeah. Yep. I
Yep.
remember I remember my first class. I went in and the purple belt was leading it, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna give you your introduction." And I'm like, "Okay." He's
Mm,
gonna like show me some stuff. He's like, "I
yeah.
want you to lay flat on the floor." I'm like, "Okay." And he got on top of me, and he's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "This is my introduction. Like, what the heck?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he's like, "You're gonna do this." And he did a trap and roll into an Americana, and I'm like, "Oh crap! I want to learn that." you know,
Yeah.
it's like so powerful. It's like, man, it's addicting. Like, I want to learn that.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that the reason why I really liked it was because I always played sports that was most like a team sports, like football, basketball, those type of sports that always, teammates, which is amazing. But the
Yeah.
thing I liked about jujitsu is individual, right? And because it's like all on you, you get to learn. It's like if you mess
Mm.
up, it's on you, right? If you're playing football and the kicker, it's fourth down in the fourth quarter, 5 seconds left. The other team is winning by 1 point, and the field goal kicker is going to kick the field. Like your field goal kicker is going to kick the game winning field goal,
Yeah.
and he misses. Well, shoot, it's the field goal guy's fault, right?
Right. Right.
But in jiu-jitsu, it's all us. It's all on us. So
Mhm.
it's either we're winning or we're learning, and we're learning, we're winning. So therefore, to me,
Yeah.
that was the mindset. There is like I'm always winning.
Yeah.
And that's really what paved the way for the rest of my life, made it a lot
Right
easier.
on. Right on. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'm sure that there were times along the way where you were frustrated and when you wanted to
yeah,
give up, when you wanted to quit, when it wasn't fun, right? What
yeah.
kind of a mindset did you have to achieve to obtain that level of discipline?
Man, yeah, like, there's always those days where you just wanna kinda stop and just, be like, "Man, I don't know if this is for me," especially after, like,
Mhm.
breaking my ACL, my meniscus, like, getting surgery, like, real freaking
Mhm.
surgery that's like, "You're gonna be out for 1 year." But I really think that one of the things was just jujitsu in general, but also, like, always looking at other people that I inspired to be like, whether it was in sports or people in books, that I was reading, or just the more that I was always consuming like things about personal development, the more that my
Mhm.
mind was getting stronger. Right.
Yeah.
And I really do believe like books are the training weights for the mind. And I was always obsessed with learning from other people,
Yeah.
you know, guys that were super successful, and that I looked up to, that they were like, hey, I this is what happened to me. And I would like watch documentaries, movies, read books, watch YouTube videos, this type of thing that just continued to put my brain into just, feeding the machine just to
Mhm.
nonstop. When I felt like that, I was like, man, like who's been there? Conor McGregor tore
Yeah.
his ACL. What did he do? Let me watch his videos. And then he would talk about a
Yeah.
lot about just coming back and how he would think about visualization, isolation, motivation, and all this type of
Mhm.
stuff. And it just fueled all that stuff. I took those things and put it into to my life. Right. So I took
Mm.
all those things and I just kept feeding it.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you talked a little bit about, addiction, how you get addicted to,
Yeah.
certain things. Well,
Yeah.
growth can be addicting too. The more you grow, the more confident you get, and that confidence, delivers serotonin. It delivers
Mm,
that dopamine, and you're like, it feels good. It's like a rush. It's like, I got this, and you want more of that. So it's a process because then you grow more, you receive more confidence, right?
yeah, absolutely. I also had like a chip on my shoulder too because of just like what
Mm,
happened in football and high school and stuff. I didn't really I got in trouble for some things that I should have never got in trouble for that caused me to not really play my senior year and like show my best self. And that made me like want to prove it in another thing that I could get a chance on, and that was jujitsu for me. It was like, man,
yeah,
like this is by myself. Like there's nothing else. Okay, let's do it. And
right.
that's what made me kind of like. Sometimes it's like a good thing and a bad thing, like ego, right? It's like I want to prove others, but I want to prove myself that I could have done it, type of thing, right? And that's when I started
Mhm.
winning competitions. Like, I started like competing, and it took me a couple competitions to win, but it was just that like that it's just fun to compete, and then that feeling
Mhm.
like of adrenaline,
Yeah.
it's just like, man, like, damn, like boom, 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 like, and then it's like, I want more. I want more, kind
Yeah.
of like what you're saying, and then
Right
I
on.
just kept going.
I think you make an interesting point, comparing a sport like jujitsu to like football, because when you have a team, it is not all on you. You have that reliability of somebody else, which is good, but it also can be bad because it doesn't motivate you yourself,
Yeah.
just in general by yourself. And
Mhm.
so what jujitsu does, or any self sport like golf or any other type of martial arts, or anything, swimming, things like that. What it does is it transfers over into mindset. Now, obviously, there's mindset in football as well. You have your part to play, but when it's
Yeah,
just you, you're focusing on 100% you. That's your mindset, and you're coaching that, and then that spills over into all areas of life, right?
absolutely. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
And I think
that's
another
great, man.
thing too, we're gonna add just, we're gonna add one more thing.
Yeah,
Probably had to do with trying to impress girls, That's
yeah,
probably another
oh
thing
yeah.
too, I think that's a
Of
big
course.
one. It's like I could go back to where like my friend going back to Jacob, and how he was like kind of being the one that was cool. He was like the quarterback in high school and stuff. He was like like I said, he's like we're just very close. And I would see like girls would just like, cheerleaders, like he would have like cheerleader like as the girlfriends like who were like the cheerleaders and stuff. He was cool. We were at like parties and stuff, get-togethers, the parties in like the people's houses. Everyone wrestled, girls are watching, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
ooh, like who's winning? And it's like,
He's
and they're
not so
just like,
cool in
I
a
wanna, I
triangle
wanna
choke,
get my
huh?
chance. It's like little goals that I had. I'm like, I want to go into that and just like beat these guys. And that's how it started. And then when I finally started training a little bit and going back and forth, I went one of those like get-togethers. I ended up like being the main guy that was there, kind of that was like doing MMA, jiu-jitsu too, and like it was just so fun. I was like, yeah, it's just like yeah, and then I just keep going. So that was
Yeah, he
another
did.
reason I think women have a huge. I think I was reading Think and Grow Rich, and there's a part in Think and Grow Rich where like he talks about how like there was like these kids in like I don't know middle school or something like that. They were like outside playing soccer, and like it was just a bunch of boys, and like there's no women around, and they're just all having fun, kicking the ball, just joking around. And then all of a sudden, there's women that come in, like girls that come outside, and then all of a sudden they go from their demeanor goes from like ah ha ha like to trying to kill each other, trying to prove to
Yeah,
each other. And I thought
competitive.
that was funny. And he talks about how a lot of the motivation that men get is from women.
Yeah,
So that was
definitely.
probably another reason too why I wanted to do it.
Yeah,
But I fell in
women
love
are
with it.
another thing that produce serotonin and dopamine and testosterone.
Yeah,
And
true.
I bet that quarterback didn't look so good to the girls when he's tapping in a triangle choke, huh?
Yeah, 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 but it's all good, man, like, I'm super happy that, I had like, he helped me out with, like, finding that because I don't know if I would've found it if it wasn't for him and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
I
I
just
definitely
appreciate
want to
him.
talk about confidence with women here in a bit.
Yeah,
But before we dive into that,
yeah,
I was going to ask you. So,
mhm,
we've already established that you're a Christian man.
yeah.
Have you always been a Christian, or what does your testimony look like?
Yeah, so I was always Catholic. Long story short, I was always Catholic, but I never really paid attention too much, like during mass and things like that. And my parents never really got to where we're talking deep about God and like like the Old Testament, the New Testament, and things like that. So I kind of like I already had that belief, kind of like a kid, like that God exists and like He died for our sins, and we believe we're gonna go to heaven. But it wasn't until like probably like 2.5 years, 3 years that I really was like, I want to figure this out kind of like I want to actually read, I want to actually study it. I want to like train on this, like in my mind,
Mhm.
take it serious. And then I took it serious like jujitsu, where I'm always thinking about I'm like a jiu-jitsu nerd or in dating or social skills. And then I was
So,
like,
real quick,
wow, yeah,
was this after you were doing jujitsu or before that you decided to take God serious?
probably after I would
Okay,
say. Like,
after.
I mean, I would take God like serious, like I would pray and stuff, but
Mhm.
there's a different kind of level to where, like, when you're
Yes.
really trying to seek God and, like, you really truly, like, accept Jesus in your heart, right?
Yeah.
And that I
Yep.
I would say that's probably, like, after when we got married when I got married to my wife, and then
Mhm.
she got pregnant, that's when it really hit me, like,
Yeah. Right
dang,
on.
and then, like, I have a daughter that's coming, like, man, the
Yeah.
world is very evil now, you know? It's like, how am I gonna raise her? And then I started thinking about life, started getting deeper, and then that's where I started seeking God, and it changed my
Mm.
life even more. Yeah,
That's awesome, man. That's
yeah,
great. So, what is it that you do for a living?
yeah. So I have a fun job, and it's coaching people, coaching guys specifically, coaching men
Mhm.
on being able to find the right person, helping them with their social skills, their communication, and just get them into a meaningful relationship. And now it's just the end goal is marriage,
Mhm.
wife, kids. And to me, this year has been pretty good. One of my clients got married. I got another guy that
Nice.
got engaged, and then another guy's gonna propose in a couple months. So,
Wow. And did those guys come from no confidence with women at all, no relationship status?
no, some of them did, like one of them did,
Okay.
but it's not everybody's like completely clueless or
Sure.
like has everyone's like I would say the best way I can illustrate that is like jujitsu. Like everyone has different belts, right?
Mm.
Some can come in, they're like a blue belt, some can come like a purple, some are brown. But no matter where you're at, we're gonna get you to the next level. And we don't gotta try to master this because it's not about mastering this where it takes forever. It's just about knowing and having more tools to being able to have a successful, you know, relationship and finding the right person.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And
Yeah.
so you mentioned tools. What kind of tools are you referencing?
Big ones, man. So a big one that I go with my clients a lot that we work on is like storytelling skills. Just being able to improve on their storytelling skills on telling a good story, like showing their
Yeah.
true self, not
Yeah.
just being like, "What do you do for fun?" "Oh, I do this." It's like that's not really conveying anything. It doesn't make it a person. You can't make a person like really know who you are. Right? It's about
Mhm.
sharing your experiences, your life, your all your stories in a way where it's engaging and it evokes emotion. And that right there, if you can do that, you can really change people's lives like that. Yeah.
Wow. That's
That's
pretty
one.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another one is just improving on their confidence, like you said. That's
Yeah,
a big one there. Like,
it
I
is.
do believe we all have like self limiting beliefs, self destructive thoughts. Sometimes
Mhm.
this comes from our childhood. Sometimes it comes from when we got bullied in high school or something happened or when we got cheated on by a girl or got our heart broken or got rejected,
Mhm.
right? It always comes back into the now. So like my goal is to kind of see where they're at as far as like the self-limiting beliefs, write it down and then kind of have like a T chart. And then there on the right, we're able to kind of break it down and kind of break each one, take the weed out from the garden manually, right? Like get
Mm.
it out completely from the core and to build real confidence. And then the practical skills on just like wherever they're at. Everyone's different that I work with, right? But that's a big
Sure.
one there. Yeah.
Sure. Let's take a second on that one because I know that that is very, very common for a lot of men,
Mhm.
feeling rejected or
Yeah.
having someone betray their trust. That's happened to me personally a few
Mhm.
different times in my life. Um,
Yeah.
say you're working with somebody who's struggling with that. Say they have been cheated on, and they don't have any confidence because they have that scar that they're dealing with. How would you coach that person? What do they need to hear?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I would first I would have to dive deep into their situation, like, know
Sure.
exactly what happened because
Sure.
everybody's different. I can't just
Right.
give you a one size fits all answer, but
Okay.
let's just pretend that the guy got cheated on and he was with his girlfriend for like a year, 2 years, and he got kind of blindsided by that, right? So it's important to, as a man, to not like, number one, like suppress your feelings. I do believe
Mm,
that like as a man, when you're feeling like that, you have to tell somebody. You have to be, maybe you have to cry it out. And a lot of times these people are saying like, "Oh, don't, if you cry, you're a wimp and all this stuff." But if you don't cry or if you don't let it out first and kind of like let that pain out fully, it's gonna stay inside, and that's where it kind of can like eat you from the inside out,
yes.
right?
Yes.
I do believe that this is another reason why a lot of men don't live as long as women. Because what do women do when this happens?
They let you know.
Yeah, or they let their friends know, right? They're like a bunch of girls and wine night, all crying and stuff, right?
Why not?
You know what I'm saying? We men need
Yeah.
that. We need that, right? We don't do that. We're like, oh, I'm too. I have, I'm not can't do that. Now I remember I had a friend that was like, my grandpa died, and I was with my girlfriend, and I was like, I have to leave, and I went to the house, and I started crying, and I'm like, dude, like that's the one though, like she can be there for you. I mean, you don't want to like exaggerate and just be the one who's crying more than her, right?
Sure, sure.
But
And I
like,
think
yeah, go
and I
ahead.
think culture says, men can't be emotional or they're not men. They're not strong. But I think that that's the exact opposite. I think that a man who can control their emotions, are in tune with their emotions and know when to let it out and how to let it out in a healthy way, that's a strong man because it takes
Yeah,
2, maybe even 3 times the effort to control your emotions and have them come out the right way, healthy, than it is to just let everything out whenever you're angry, you're sad,
true.
whatever. That's not being in control of yourself. Therefore, that's not strength.
Yeah, true. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. And another thing too, I would say is like you got to take what you have and channel it into a positive arena, right? So that
Yes.
that positive arena could be something physical, like working
Okay.
out, going to the gym, like just doing that, right? They're getting some movement in, right? To me, when I got
Absolutely.
cheated on, I took the anger, the frustration, the depression into working out and working out hard and just like
Yeah.
going crazy, taking C4, taking all the pre-workout, going in there and trying my hardest to just almost not forget, but like just like almost like motivation.
Yeah.
Motivation. She lost a good person. I'm getting stronger. Motivation. I'm
Yeah.
getting bigger. I have a future. I have a vision. I have a purpose. I'm going after it.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that like a lot of times guys don't do. They're like they like to stay in their house. That can lead to bad things like doing crazy drugs and getting into a downward spiral, eating horrible, and just continue, and no one to talk to. Where do you think that's going to lead to?
Yeah, it just leads to more depression.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I would say those are like the couple things that we do, and then we kind of break down like how they got cheated on to where they know that like for me, when I found out that I got cheated on, I went back into like, how did I get cheated on? What happened? And I started connecting all the dots going backwards. And then towards the end, I was like, that was my fault.
Mm,
My freaking fault.
that's big.
I let
That's
that
big,
I
man.
let that crap happen. Why did I let
Yeah,
that crap happen? Because I don't know how to talk to a girl. I don't know how to set boundaries. I didn't know how to call. I don't know how to
boundaries.
spot a red flag. I didn't stand up for
Mm,
myself. All these little type of things I learned along the way, and that helped me to find the right person. So like,
mhm.
if I can go and tell them how that happened for me, that like I took the one of the worst things that happened and turned it into my greatest things, finding my wife. It kind of helps them out a little bit on sharing my story a little bit and breaking it down for them and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is a huge concept. I'm glad that you said it, boundaries.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, boundaries are so important. Have you ever read that book, Boundaries for Dating?
No, no. Who's
No?
it?
I
Sounds
can't
good.
remember the author, but
Yeah,
there's a bunch of them. There's boundaries, then
yeah.
there's boundaries with dating, and then boundaries with kids.
Mm,
It's really good books. I think I've read all of them,
nice.
but I can't remember the author's name. But anyway, I was just curious. I'm sure you know pretty much all of that stuff anyway. But yeah, how important are boundaries with, well, let's just say relationships in general?
Super important. They're
Hmm.
like one of the most important.
Yeah,
Like it's hard to put it on like a which one is the most important, but that's I would say that's definitely one of the top ones.
right.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
if you don't set boundaries, then it's going to be hard to kind of have a successful relationship marriage because then what that does if you don't set the boundaries, once again you're kind of like you're like just sweeping it under the rug and then it gets worse and worse over time just keeps getting worse. You start feeling like contempt. You start
yeah,
feeling kind of like you're starting to kind of not like your partner. You're like getting angry. You're being passive aggressive. That's like the worst thing you can be is
yeah,
passive aggressive. And then all of a sudden one day you go crazy kind of and then your woman's like what the heck what happened to you when it could have been addressed right in the beginning.
sure.
Have that hard conversation. Make sure that you kind of are, sharing how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're looking for, making sure she validates what
Yes.
depending on what it is, and then
Yeah,
from there, you guys are both on a better, vision, and then you guys can move along, and the relationship gets
sure.
stronger.
Right on.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think, as men, we're supposed to be the leaders,
100%.
and boundaries, they set expectations. Uh, you're not going to be strong in the eyes of your woman if she doesn't know where you stand, what you're going to
Yeah,
tolerate, what you
yeah,
won't tolerate, where you're going to lead her, right?
yeah,
The boundaries are not only for you and for your self-respect, but they're also saying, "Hey, this is what we're going to stand for. These are our values, and this is where we're at. And I expect us to be at this level right here. That's the boundary right there. And they're going to respect that. And if they don't respect that, then they're not quality women, I don't think.
yeah, 100%.
So that boundary set the expectation so that your woman knows this is what he stands for. This is where we will tolerate and this is where we won't tolerate.
Yep,
And that's leadership.
yep, yep. And I think you said that if you don't do it, then she's not gonna be like that's not a good woman, right? I do agree with that, right? That's another reason of like how to choose a good woman as a wife, right?
Mhm.
Like let's say that she's doing something that you don't like that's like not appropriate or something, and you guys are dating you guys are like in the dating stages, right? And you don't like what she's doing. So therefore you're gonna call her out on it and you're gonna tell her the truth. And if she starts to tell you like, oh, you're insecure or this or that or whatever, and she's like almost like not respecting you, then you can kind of see where the pattern's going to go in the future, right?
Yeah.
And if you're the man, you're the leader, like how God, tells us to be. We're supposed to be the leader. Wives are supposed to submit to the husband, right? If she's already doing that, well, imagine what that relationship is gonna look like in the future. It's very easy to
Yes.
kind of tell. The only problem that I see with guys is like they like a girl, she's pretty, like they get into they get they let the visual seduce them and then
Mhm.
not think straight and then kind of
I
disregard that all the time.
I think nowadays they call that simps, right? They're simping.
Yeah, yeah,
It's the
exactly
kids'
right.
language, simping.
Yeah, simping. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
exactly.
but 100%, man. Um, God calls us to be the leader, and I think a lot, not everyone, but we're talking about quality women as opposed to non-quality women, and you're going to see the level of quality in a woman depending on how they perceive rejection. And I'm not talking about like rejection. I don't want to be with you anymore, but like, no, we're not going to do that, or I'm not going to do that. Um, you said, you quoted the Bible where women are supposed to submit to the husband, and that is true. But there's a caveat to that, and it is they're supposed to submit to a godly man,
Let's
to
go.
a Christ following husband. If you're not
Yeah,
following Christ, I mean, they don't have the leader. They're not going to submit
yeah,
to that, and they shouldn't. They should be the ones to stand up and say, "No, you're wrong."
yeah,
But if you're following Christ, if you're on that journey with Christ, and you're saying Christ does this, and I'm going to love you like Christ loves the church, that that is what the women want to submit to. you know? And so it all starts with those boundaries, those expectations you set from the very beginning. And you are right on track 100% when you are going to be able to find out what kind of a girl she is, depending on what you can tolerate and what you won't.
100%. And if you don't stand up to her, she won't believe that you can stand up for her.
Ooh, that's a good one.
And it
I
gets
like that.
tough when you guys are in a relationship and something happens outside of you guys are in a restaurant, someone mistreats you guys and maybe says something to your wife, to your girlfriend. Well, if you can't stand up to her, she for sure doesn't think that you can really stand up to anybody. So therefore it just makes you weak. And she
Yes.
wants the man to stand up for her, be the leader, be the protector. And
Yes.
like it doesn't have to come from a place of you have to fight someone or you have to kill someone. It's just a place of like if something is there, you're willing to, stand up and have that conversation. Call someone
Sure.
out if you
Yeah.
need to. I mean, look at Jesus' life. Look at like that's the person that we're trying to follow. Like, right? It's like that's who we're trying to model, even though we'll never be like that because Jesus was perfect and
Right.
we're sinners. But look at Jesus in his life. A lot of people say he was weak. Absolutely not. If you study Jesus, he was firm. He was strong. He said what needed to be said. He
Yeah.
was like one in like the temple. What were they doing? They were like gambling and like they had like the tables with money and like all the birds and stuff. What did he do? He knocked over the tables and he said, get out of my father's house."
Yeah.
Right? He would stand up, and
Yeah. He's
just the
like a
same way that
boss, man.
yeah, he wasn't like, "Oh my god," oh, you guys are here. Like no, he was like he was always standing up for himself
Well,
for
and
his
he knew
people.
that came from a place of he knew he had the authority of God.
Yeah,
And just like us as Christians, we have the power of Jesus in us, man. We have the authority of God in
yeah.
us. We have that power. We just have to activate it. We have to have the knowledge and we have to be men and stand up and have the courage to activate it and stand on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff, bro. So okay, so we left off on some of those skills. The
Mm,
talking about being cheated on, the confidence of rejection,
mm,
and that's another thing I want to talk about is the rejection. So
mm.
when dating, I see a lot of your content. You're like, hey, shoot your shot, man. Go after her if she's worth it. Try it. What's she gonna say? No. So somebody facing that, maybe they don't have the confidence to actually ask for the date. How do you help motivate somebody to have that confidence to really go up to a girl like that?
I do believe that what you don't know, like what to say, is what you fear, right? Like if you've never
Right.
done jujitsu, you're gonna be kind of fearful of going into that first class because you don't know what to expect, right?
Yeah.
Or like something like a new arena, right? Like public speaking, for example. Like you're gonna go and do a public speaking speech in front of a bunch of people. Are you gonna be confident? Like I don't care how confident you are in computer science. You go into or whatever field you're doing. If you're going into a different arena, confidence is not going to just translate from that to doing a public speaking speech in front of a
True.
bunch of people, right?
Yep.
So it's the same thing with the girls sometimes. That's what I've noticed. So I do help them out on the technical aspect of like giving them a small framework. It's not like a script or anything, but it's a small way of like at least knowing like what are the best ways to start a conversation. That's like first step one. And
Mhm.
step two, if they don't know what to say, because the best thing to say is you can always like be direct and like tell a girl that she's pretty. But to me, I feel like that's kind of like it's okay, but I rather come from a place of just starting a conversation, right? Just starting a conversation. How do you do that? Kind of like if I saw you at a coffee shop and you were, you were there and you were reading this book, or you were reading the Bible, let's say, I would just, I'd be like, hey man, I love that you're reading the Bible. Like, what are you reading on? Boom, right? That's the best kind of way to just start a conversation with someone, right? Or like you have like
Mhm.
your shirt that's your brand. I'd be like, oh, it's a cool shirt, bro. Like, is that your brand? And yeah, I like that.
There you go. Yeah.
Rebuilt. I'd be like, dude. Do you have a podcast? Boom, right? That's the best way to start a conversation, and that's the same thing that you do with a girl. It's not any different. But the problem that I see is that when it's a pretty girl, guys start to like, oh my god, like they start to like there's the palms that get sweaty. That's what happened to me all the time. But that's where we rely on a default opener that's just like a universal way to just start the conversation. If like your brain freezes, you don't know what to do. That's where most
Yeah.
guys are not going to go and do anything. But I have a default way to just start a conversation. They know, so they can start the conversation, and that's just
So
step one.
yeah. So kind of look for things that you have in common, like
Yeah,
reading the Bible, or something that's maybe personal to her that she would be happy to talk about, elaborate, something of that nature.
exactly. Or make a
Good.
statement. Make it state like a statement. Like if you guys are like somewhere and then you guys are like seeing something, you can make a statement of like what you're seeing by being a good observer. So something like that is always the best way. It's like a natural way to do it. If you don't know what to
Uh-huh.
do, sure you can be like, hey, I was just about to leave. I thought you were pretty cute, and I had to come up and say hello to you. How are you doing? Right? Of course you can do that, but there's other ways too, right? So that's
Sure.
step one, and then by knowing what to kind of do, what to say, you're already getting a little bit more confidence. And then when the guy does it, most of it is a lot of the limiting beliefs that's like the self-destructive thoughts, like worst case scenarios in his head, like through social media programming or all
Yeah.
these different things that people are saying. If you do that, you're gonna go to jail. You're harassing a girl if you're doing that. So it's like once that he does it and he sees that it's like positive response or like a neutral response, it wasn't anything bad.
Yeah.
It starts to like the confidence, like worst case scenario here, it starts to like go a little bit higher, of like a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like, so like, let's say this is the confidence because it's going better. Like the interaction, it was positive. They start to gain a little bit more confidence because they're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, this wasn't as bad as I thought. Like, oh man, I had a good response. Oh shoot, I got her number. And then they start gaining more confidence. And then their limiting beliefs start to go down and down and down.
Yeah.
And we start to break down their limiting beliefs of what they're still having, right? So it's a very practical way
That's
to
good.
gain confidence like that.
Yeah, that's
We
good,
just
man.
continue
So
to sharpen the sword. Yeah.
that's good, man.
Yeah.
So funny story for you. Years and years and years ago, I was hanging out with I was single, I was hanging out at a club with some friends, and there's this girl I thought was real cute, and I wanted to ask her out. I wanted to talk to her, and all night I was trying to get up the nerve to
Yeah.
talk to her. And my friends were like, "Man, just go talk to her, man.
Yeah.
She'll think you're cool." And I'm like, "Okay, okay." I'm like, "This is my moment," and I'm like, "No, no, it's not, it's not." And then I was like, "Okay, this is no, 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 no." And finally, we're outside, and she's on the curb, and she's smoking a cigarette, and I was, I don't smoke or anything like that, but we were all, drinking back then and different life. Anyway, so she's smoking a cigarette, and I was like, all right, she's by herself. Her friends are gone. I'm like, I'm gonna go talk to her. So I go up to her. She's sitting on the curb, and I'm like standing over, and I'm like, she like looks up at me. And I'm just like, smoking a cigarette, huh? She's like, yep. And I'm like, cool. We'll see ya. And I walk
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man, dude, my friends had the time of their life with that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so you made the example of when things start to go right, your confidence kind of builds, it builds. So let's flip that. What happens when she's not having any of it, right? And you're just, I mean, what do you do with your mindset then?
We give up. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
We say, hey man, it's not for you, bro. No, I'm just kidding. No, man. I mean, I make sure and tell them that what we're celebrating the most is not what happens of the outcome. What we're celebrating first is just the fact that you're doing it. That's a win in
yeah,
itself.
right on.
Celebrating the small wins, because all the small wins
Yeah,
add up to the bigger picture, right?
sure.
So the way that's why I look at it, like going back into we're either winning or learning, and when we're learning, we're winning, right? So we're celebrating the small wins along the way, the whole journey of the program. If they do like a 3-month program, we're just celebrating the whole time, right? And
Mm.
sure, there's going to be things where it's like, okay, like, did you die? What was
Did you?
did you die? Are you okay? Are you okay? Like, did you think that it was gonna be? And then they start to be like, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Like, they really be like, wow, this was all in my head. Like, this was during COVID. They will be like, oh my god, like I haven't never done it since before COVID, or like this wasn't even that bad. It was actually good. And then and even if it's bad, it's like, dude, it's okay. Like, that's just part of the process. It's temporary rejection. We keep going. What's on the other
Mhm.
side? Giving up. Like we got to continue to be, man. Like think about all the people that, even if you're fearful and you still did it, that's a win. Think about all the people in the Bible.
Yeah.
Moses, when he was about to take all the people when God called him to be the mouthpiece, to be the person. And, you're going to be the one that's going to go and you're going to take all of your people, all of my people from Egypt and take them to the promised land. Right. And Moses like, I don't know if I can. Like, why me? Like, he's fearful, but
Yeah.
he still did it. And that's the thing about the Bible. It shows the guys, they had emotions. They were scared, but they still did it. This is all biblical masculinity. And if we can tie
Mm.
into that of like courage is like doing it despite that you're fearful. And God never chose anybody that was like perfect. That was like, he always chose people that were all flawed, that were scared, that like, had, we just human beings and just we're all
Mhm.
have all different emotions and they still did it. Right. Despite
Yeah.
having that fear.
So,
So yeah.
you get rejected by a girl, your mindset should still be a win because hey, you talked to her.
Yeah.
You shouldn't think yourself any less than you were just because she rejected. It just wasn't for you. There's another one, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's millions of people out there. Like, why are you gonna you rely on one person for her to break you down like that?
Right.
That's why you have to chase your purpose. That's another thing too, is like you have
Mm.
to have a purpose that you're going after so that like if you don't have that, it's gonna be hard for you to like go back into like continue to grind on like whatever it is that you dream about, your goals
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like for me, when I got rejected, I would always fall back on like, man, I still have my purpose. I'm still going. I'm still going. Like I'm still going after. If she doesn't like me, cool. I know where I'm going. I see the vision, and like I'm gonna continue to improve as a man. I trust God. Like I would ask God, God, please help me find a good wife. Help me find a good woman.
Mm.
Help me. Like I'll be I'll be a good person. I'll be faithful. But please help me. But I also took action too.
Yeah.
And that's I just kept it going like that, and that's what led me to find my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I love that you mentioned, praying to God that, help me find my spouse, right?
yeah,
I said that prayer so many times. And
yeah.
what's crazy about it is, I mean, there was a time in my life when I was going to 2 different churches at the same time, volunteering at both of them. I would volunteer on Saturday nights, and then I would go to a different church on Sunday mornings and volunteer there. And yes, I wanted to serve God. Yes, I wanted to be connected, but my main goal was to meet a good woman. And I knew I had heard stories about meeting women who serve, right? And I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And so I started to do that. And I didn't meet a girl at either of those churches. Um, and I was so discouraged for a long time about like, I'm pursuing the right things, God. I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to do the right things. Like, why won't you give me what my heart desires, right? And it's not that God didn't want to give me what my heart desired, what I wanted. It's that I wasn't ready. If I
Mm,
had met my
yeah,
wife when I wanted it, when I wanted
no,
her, she wouldn't have accepted me. I wasn't there yet. It was in
yeah,
God's timing that later on, you
mm,
know, the next year, once I had grown a little more,
mhm.
I attracted her. But I wouldn't
Let's
have
go.
attracted or for sure kept her at that time, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So when you're talking about purpose, it's like, what is your purpose for finding someone? And what are you going to do when you find them? And what is your life like?
mm. I love that.
Because you're going to
That's true.
attract who you are.
Yeah,
The person that you are, you're gonna attract someone like that, and if
yeah,
not, then you're just being fake, you're pretending,
yeah,
and everybody does that with dating at first, but you can only
yeah,
keep it up 3, 4,
yeah.
maybe
You can't
5
keep.
months.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The real you's gonna shine through,
Oh,
so who is that?
She'll know after like a couple weeks or like a month or two. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree, man. I love that. I love the little those little things that you mentioned, man. Those are huge.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
another topic I wanted to talk about is you got the girl, but then there's the worst word ever, which is friend zone.
Oh,
I've seen some of your content where you're talking about the friend zone, right?
yeah.
So what keeps you out of the friend zone, man?
Not being intentional.
Mm,
Not being that guy that's intentional and is bold. You're
mm,
playing not to lose, really. You gotta play to
mhm.
win. You gotta
Yeah,
play to win. What is play to win? You're a risk taker. You're bold. you're willing to lay it out there, even despite you might get rejected. You're willing to do
Mhm.
that. A lot of guys are not willing to do that. They're willing to kind of just stay in there, hoping that the girl is the one who says, "Hey, like I like you," and like give them all the all the stars to align. When it's like if you're looking at like the Bible, we're supposed to be the hunters, man. Like we're going back.
Yeah.
Who is the people that were going into war, that were killing the other army when we needed to, that were when the
Yeah.
army was coming, we were defending it, that when we were
Yeah.
taking over to the promised land, that we were going and fighting. Was it the women?
No.
Then that's how we have to be. We're the hunters. Women are the gatherers.
Yeah.
Masculinity, femininity.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a Christian woman who's traditional, you got to be the one take the lead. And a lot of guys
Yeah.
don't want to take the lead. That's the thing I see with a lot of Christian men. They're not willing to take the lead sometimes. And
Mhm.
that's where I want to wake them up a little bit. Like, hey, we got to go back to the Bible and take a look at really what it says.
Mm.
It says, be courageous,
Yeah.
act like men, stand like firm, right? Like all these things. So that's where a lot of times guys get put into the friend zone.
100%. And what are some signs that you're moving into the friend zone if they're not paying attention?
I remember one time this girl was like, I was at the gym with her and she was like, wow, that guy's really hot. And I was,
And you guys were like kind of dating or
I was trying,
yeah.
that's another story, right? But I thought we were kind of dating, right?
What did
And
what
she was
did you
just like,
say
wow,
to that?
that guy's like attractive. I think she was like, that guy's attractive. And I was like,
Uh,
and I was
you're
just
like, no,
like,
he's
I
not.
didn't know
No,
what
you're
to
not.
do, man. I was like, screw that guy. I'm right here. Hey, I'm right here, like little things like that, little jabs like that, like just many different ways like that to, oh, you're nice. I really like you. One day you're going to find the right person, they're going to be lucky. And I'm like, what? Who? You're saying other girls? What about you though? You know what I mean?
Got to be assertive. Tell them what
Yeah,
you want.
man. Absolutely. And you can't stay there. And if you stay there, you just got to move on or, tell her, hey, this is not what I want. I see you more as a friend. I see you
Yeah.
have like, there's potential there. That's what I see. Like, do you not see
Right.
the same? No, I don't. Okay, well, hey, you know, we could still keep it cool, but I just can't really keep doing this with you because it's going to keep hurting me. So
I
I'm
mean,
going to have to move on.
you can't
Yeah.
invest in that type of relationship when you don't have the same goals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
not fair to both parties. Yeah. And it's so
Exactly.
true, man. So, real quick, what's the best place you would say to meet some good girls? Is it online? Is it church? Is it where would you suggest?
Man, it really just depends where you live, but I mean, there's universal places. I would say that, yeah, a good, like one of the ways that one of my clients who is going to propose next year, like in a couple
Yeah.
months, he met his girlfriend in like one of those like communities for like outside of the church, like the youth, like the young adults
Okay.
groups like that,
Yeah.
right? So you go to a church and you do it for the faith, right? You want to do that, but obviously you're going to attract people that have the same faith, which is amazing, right? And then from there, there's always men and women that go into those communities and stuff like that, groups, and you just go there. You continue to study, meet friends there too, meet guys, and there might be potential for some girls, right? So that's what he did. He saw this girl that he liked, and then from there, we just, like I said, I just coached him a little bit on some stuff to ask her out. He asked her out. He got the date, and then they just kept going on more dates, and then they got into a relationship, and now he's been with her for a long time now, and now he's gonna propose, and it just like that, right? It happened like that, right? So it's like in those places that are great. And like the thing is, like if there's nobody there, sometimes people tell me, "Oh, like everyone here is like a lot older than me or like too young." Are you a tree? You can move, right? You can move.
You can
Like,
leave, right?
yeah, you can leave. You can still go to the church if you like, but you can try out another community. You can try another
Yeah.
time. Like they're just like, "Oh, I'm giving up." Like that's the thing. Like guys, we have to persevere. I really think that's like one of the most important things as a man is like perseverance, like the art of persevering and being patient. Those two right there are like the combo right there, right?
Yeah,
Because
that's
those two
good.
right there, if you have those two in itself, everything else will fall into place because you can learn the skills, you can gain the confidence, you can have the temporary rejections, but you can keep going, right? Because
Hmm.
you have the mindset of like I'm gonna do this. Like there is no plan B.
Yeah,
Right? And the patience of like you being patient for waiting on
yeah,
God's timing, but at the same time taking a little bit of action as well with that, on yourself
yeah,
and getting exposure to different
yeah.
places. So those places like that would be good. For me, I always found that the places that are like the healthiest, like places where people care about their health, their wealth, or like not their wealth, like their health, like the gym, like
Mm,
grocery stores, like those type of places where it's just people are care about eating healthy, eating right, taking care of themselves. Those are great places like that.
yeah, that's
Coffee
good.
shops, just pretty much anywhere like that, I would say. And then like for other guys, like going into events like Christian speed dating events, social like singles events, where like a bunch of people meet and you get
Hmm.
to, just socialize and see. So I would say that
That's
those
good.
type of ways are great.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
What are a couple books that you would recommend for dating?
Ooh, probably probably As a Man Thinketh by
As a
James
Man
Allen.
Thinketh.
As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Okay.
One of the best mindset books I've ever read.
Is
Best
that specifically on dating or is that just in general?
mindset, because mindset is the most important, right? You have to have a
Absolutely.
strong foundation, right? If you don't have a
100%.
strong foundation, doesn't matter how you're technical, all this tactical. You have the tactical of like the game plan and the technical. The mental is going to crumble, right? As soon as
Yes.
you get experience, obstacles and challenges, adversity, right? So the foundation is the most important, right? I would say that one, and the cool thing about it is it's like a 40-page book. It's like
Is it
such
really?
such a short book. So amazing. I love that book.
Man,
Love that
I'm
book.
gonna write that down. No
Yeah,
doubt.
yeah. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Right?
Definitely.
Another dating book that I would say that I really like. There's a lot of different ones that people recommend, but one of my favorites is "Attraction Isn't a Choice" by David D'Angelo. That one is like top
Oh,
two
okay.
for me.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
And then
cool.
like there's other books, but I would say that one, everyone should read that one. And that one you
Okay.
can't get on Amazon. That one's like an OG book. You gotta like search for it and stuff. It's not like a
Yeah.
bad book. It's just such an old book that's like still has a lot of good knowledge on like concepts and stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you are out in Los Angeles, correct?
San Diego. Close.
San
Like an
Diego.
hour
Okay.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been to San Diego. It's a nice spot.
Nice.
So, obviously, if anybody's out there in San Diego, hit this guy up.
Let's go.
If they're not, how can everybody get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's super simple. You guys can check out my socials. Uh Pretty much it's pretty easy to Pete O'Neill dating, like you see my name and then just put dating, and then from
Yeah,
there you
and
can see
I'll
out.
put you in the show notes as well. So
Okay, I appreciate it. And
yeah,
yeah, you can do that. I have a YouTube channel. You have a
you have a
website.
podcast, right?
Everything, all my socials are there. Yeah, and I'm doing podcasts as well too, so I do have some
Nice.
episodes there. And yeah, that's how you can get a hold of me.
What do you talk about on your podcast? You have guests?
Yeah, I do. I do. You got to be one of my guests
Oh,
sometime.
me?
Yeah, yeah, you got to be one of
Well,
my guests sometime.
what kind of subjects do you talk about?
Yeah, kind of similar ones like this, like dating, masculinity, how
Gotcha.
we tie it into biblical masculinity with the Bible, talk about God. I love talking about God. That's like one of my
There you
favorite
go.
things now. A little bit of jujitsu, how to improve better,
Yeah.
how to improve faster,
Yeah.
and then the relationships. I want to get more into the relationships
Yeah.
as well
Sweet,
too.
man. Yeah,
Yeah.
invite me on. I'd love to be a guest.
Yeah, let's do a relationship one, man.
Let's do it.
Let's do it,
Let's
man.
do
You
it,
have
bro.
4 kids, bro. That's an inspiration to me. We gotta talk about how to
Well,
deal with
dating.
that. Yeah, we gotta talk about dealing with that because that's one thing I noticed is once I had a kid, things changed in a different way, in a good way, but also in a there's also challenges along the way with that too, right? Where Nobody
Yes.
ever told me about when I had like a kid, like what was going to happen really. Everyone's just like, oh, you're not going to get any sleep. You got to drink some coffee. It's just like the general advice. But dude, behind that, there's so much more, right? That I would love to talk with you about and just talk about our some of the things that we learned, some of the things that we have
Hmm.
challenges on and how we overcame that. Because
Yeah.
one thing I notice is when people get like kids, I see that their marriage starts to kind of go downhill, right? That's one thing I've noticed with a lot of people. And if you don't have the right tools, it's going to be hard to come back to that, right? And to me,
Mm.
that's my goal. My goal now is to not just like have a family, but make sure that my marriage is last forever. That's the end goal here.
Yes.
There's no divorce like that, and like
Right.
I want to talk to other guys that like that have learned, that have
Yep.
skills, and I would love to talk to you about that.
I
And
was I
yeah,
was gonna say, you could have a whole show just on dating your wife with kids.
wow, yeah,
There it is. There's your
yeah,
book title, Dating Your Wife with Kids.
wow, I love that. That's a really good one. You're the one that has the 4 kids, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was mainly all her though, so maybe you should talk to her. I don't know.
That's funny.
Anyway, man, dude, this has been a great conversation, bro. I'm really excited. I'm really happy that you were on the show, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your friendship,
Yeah,
and yeah, we're gonna have to do this again.
absolutely. We'll do it soon, and I'll invite you as well. So it was great to talk to you.
Yeah, Pete. Take care, brother.
Take care. Cheers.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed today's guest. And I just wanted to say that if this has made you think, if this has sparked something in you, maybe about your purpose or your relationship with God, I just want to encourage you to not let that moment pass. If you're ready to take that next step and connect with me personally, you can reach out to me through my email, which is jason@rebuiltlifecoach.com, or you can go to my website at www.rebuiltlifecoach.com. And if you're serious about building a stronger, faith-driven life, please go check out that program. Thank you for listening, and as always, keep walking in purpose and growing in faith. I'll catch you next time.